Charisse for Luxury Travel, and today I wanted to share how to book your flight. So we're going to go over that today, and hopefully you can get something from it, and go from there. Especially now that we're turned to travel, you have to be able to do certain things to get the flights booked. And to be able to follow up on it as well. Just getting the flights booked now with COVID can be very challenging, and each airline website is different. So what we're going to do, we're going to make this real quick, and I try to help people with travel, because travel can be very tedious. It can be very confusing, very complicated, when it should be simple. But it's basically understanding what the needs are, and doing it in a way that you just get to the facts and be able to analyze the data. It's a lot of data, and each web airline in particular, or vendor in the travel agency industry, has a different platform. So for this, we're going to focus on Delta. By far, I would say, if I have to get any awards, Delta has the best website that is very user friendly. It really does help in a way that you can be able to really find the information and get what you need to get. So at any rate, let's go ahead and focus on this. And just before I start, if you like what you are seeing and hearing, please do the like button. As they say, smash that button, and definitely subscribe and hit the notification so you get the next video that we upload for you. So let's go ahead and get into this. So again, Delta has the best website, and today objective is just for you to go through of how you can book your flights, right? We're just going to touch on that. Then we're also going to touch on what else that you see on the website. And the plan is to do other airlines, because it can get very confusing of where you can go to get the information if you don't want to depend on a direct travel agent as ourselves here at Luxury Travel, and you just want to be able to do it yourself and to do the analyzation of what prices and so forth, what you're going to do, and keep it moving. That's perfectly fine. So what we're going to do is just start at the top. So here, this is a good indicator if you decide, I think I want to call in. And like I said, Delta has the best website. It's telling you right now, experiencing longer hold times. So in the industry of travel, that's a big giveaway. You could be on the phones for 4 or 5 hours, right? And they also tell you how you can need help, which again, I'm not going to get into that. Our goal is just to go ahead and see how you can book your flights. But it's best to kind of look at the website. Maybe it's not Delta and it's a different website as you start from the top and go down. But nonetheless, just to go over delta.com right here, change or cancel. Maybe you actually already booked your flight and you know what? I want to see if I could just, make a change or cancel my flight. And you're looking at this video, there it is right at the top. Okay. You don't have to continue to scroll down. And let's see if I have enough time. I might see if I can share by a mobile device to see how the website looks on the mobile and how you can do that. Right now I am on a PC. So here we have your flight your information. You can go to change or cancel your flight. And then here it says find your e-credits. So maybe you're watching this video and you're like, you know what? I didn't get to actually take my my flights last year because of COVID. And so I canceled it. And they told me I was to have some type of credit. But here it is right at the top if it's on Delta. And sometimes airlines like Delta do a co-partnership. They have what you call part of an alliance, and it might be your own Delta on one part of the leg, and then the other part you're on a different airline. You would know that on the email that they should have sent you, and it would be considered like an e-credit. And if it was on the stock inventory of Delta, then you will come here to Delta. If you have any questions, please email us at info luxurytravel.com, and we'll be happy to help you figure that out. Then the last one here says find travel requirements. So this is very important if you don't want like a travel agent as Luxury Travel to help you, create that outline, create that plan, itinerary, and you want to figure out on each port what is the travel requirements, because I'm going to do another video on that too, because COVID completely changed the way we travel. And so travel requirements will give you that stepping stone to get further into the weeds to figure out what you got to do. It's not about just being vaccinated. It's about what's the requirement by the time you start your outbound, get to the airport, get on the plane, and when you get off, what that particular location is requiring. Even if it's a connection, you want to make sure that you clear, because every country is different. So that's here is where you can be able to get that done. The next one we have, of course, the logo. You have Delta. This right here is going to take you to the Sky Team. I'm just going to click on that right here. When you do click on it, it brings you here. And basically what the Sky Team is a part of alliances of airlines that works in alignment together to provide to get you to where you need to go around the world. And you can get some benefits with that. They have particular type of style of airlines. As you can see, you have Delta, of course, and you have all these other high tier airlines. I'm going to do another video about this, about the different alliances, what they are, and how it benefits you. So let's go back to the main website. The next one is book. That's what we're going to do. So when you come to the website, delta.com, you'll click on book. And the next line is check-in. That's if you already booked your particular flight, and now it's like maybe a couple of days out, or maybe it's the same day and you booked the flight and you want to go back in there. I'm going to have a separate video of this. This is where you go when you check in. But mostly check-in is when you're doing it right before you board. But let's say you clicked on that instead of clicking on my trips, right? So you might get an error if that's the case, but nonetheless, this is where you would definitely go if you want to check your particular flight, in the sense that you're checking in before you board. My trips is definitely where you just want to check on that, definitely before you board, or even, there at the time or after, and you'll key your information. And again, I'll do a separate video about this. If you have like a package deal and a hotel was included, you will click there if you want to check the hotel that is included with your flights. This is where you would do that. Now then, check in. Then you have the flight status. This is very important. Like I say, Delta is one of the top tier of giving you everything you need right at the start. And this is where you can go ahead and check on your flights. I'll do a separate video on that. And then here you have the travel info, and this is all about their different classes depending on your destination. Delta One is pretty much when you're traveling international, and all the different class of cabin. So the travel info kind of get more into that. Then you have the Sky Miles, and I encourage everyone, if you fly a lot, definitely sign up for their membership. I'll do a future video on that as well. And then of course you need help, right? So in this right here, we're just looking up flights. I'm going to go back to book. So we're not going to be logging in or any notification. I noticed that without logging in, it gave me the most updated, look at that, feed. It had like number 3 there. And when I clicked that, it gave us the updated news. I'm telling you, Delta is the place. And it gives you all this information you can click on, and there you go. You go to the page, what you're looking for. So it's a live feed. Awesome. All right. So let's just go ahead and get this started. And this is basically where you want to start from, your origin. Now, I did have, let's see, where you can go and look for your flights. And now I'm going to see if I can actually all right, so I wanted to get to this here where you can go to nationsonline.org and you can be able to find all the different airports. So that's how it looks when you get to the page, right? And you can Google this, but this is the one that I'm using because it's .org. So anyhow, you go scroll down and you can use, based on where you're going, they call it the AIDA airport codes. You definitely need that. And the places that you normally go to is very good. If you're booking your own flights or you're calling in for someone else to book it for you, you want to be in the know. Like I like to say, you want to be what I call the prestige traveler, right? Proactive traveler. And with that done and said, you can be able to be on top of things to make sure it's booked right. So when you get a copy of that on your confirmation, you can be able to make sure that they're booking you at the right airport. All right. So this here is all by the city, the country, and then AIDA code. The AIDA code is what is keyed in short to tell the engine of that particular either airline or hotel, whatever vendor that you're using to book your flights, right? Where you're going and where you're going, where you're going, where you're connecting and when you're returning, what airport. So it's all there in alphabetical order. So again, you would go there and you'll find it where you want to go. And then you would key that in. Let's say that you don't know it and you don't feel like looking it up. You can definitely just type it in here, right? So just for practice, we're just going to do Salt Lake City. Okay. So there you go. Or you could have typed the name Salt Lake City. And let's say we want to go to Miami. See, so I typed it out and it should come up to what you want. All right. So that's how you start booking your flight, where you're starting from, where you're leaving, where you're starting your trip from. I'm leaving out of Salt Lake City and then I want to go to Miami. This is important. The next thing is it going to be round trip? Round trip means you're going to Miami and you want to leave out from Miami or a different airport. In this case, we're just going to Miami. We're going to be leaving from Miami, the same airport, and then we'll be returning back. So it's a round trip. Let's say it's just a one-way. A one-way means that you're leaving from Salt Lake City, Utah, and you're going to Miami. That's it. You're going to stay in Miami, go to the beach, have a good time. Whatever the case might be, that would be it. Let's say it's a multi-city. The multi-city, I don't want to go into that now because that can get kind of complicated in the sense of explaining that in a way if this is your first time really booking your own flights, right? Or understanding it. This also helps if you a customer booking your flights, but you got to understand what actually the system and the engine is communicating, that's communicating to the airline or the third party agency that's helping you to book. Travel can be very complicated to get on into the reads. So we're just going to look at round trip. Okay. So we have depart. So I want to depart, let's say, I don't know, let's say the 30th. All right. And then the return, we're going to return back the 14th. Done. And there it is. The next part is in very particular. You want to make sure how many passengers. Let's say it's going to be 2 passengers. Now, if you see only 9 and maybe you say you're just doing 10, usually that's considered a group. Whatever type of vendor, if it's hotel, if it's, air, you basically, or something like that, it prompts the system that this is mainly a group. So you might get a message that, oh, you need to call it in, right? So in this case, it's going up to 9. So I'm going to say we're just going to be 2 people. And I'm going to go down here before I click that. And this here is the search options. This is if you have miles, because you have a membership with Delta, you will click that. And then here you can click that and it definitely tells you what that is. And it takes you to another page to break that down. If you're looking for refundable fares, I'm going to do a separate video on this because with COVID, you got to be proactive. I highly recommend to look at refundable fares, right? I'm clicking that now because we're talking about it, but you can compare, like you can do it once and compare the price, but get it, just get it. That's all I have to say right now. And this is helpful. It breaks it all down to you, what you're looking for, how that is, how non-refundable fares are more restrictive. It goes in through all of that, and it is. And you want to be on the side where you could just call, like, just give me back my money, okay? My dates are flexible, so they can work around the range, so you don't have to continue to say, okay, let me go back, start over. What about June 20th? How does that work? What about change it? Just click that and it gives you a good range to say this is what it is. Your advanced search, if you click that there, this will show nearby airports. Let's say it was another airport near SLC, or maybe MIA is not, maybe you'll go there, but check Fort Lauderdale or, check another. Then you can do that if you click that. This is important here. If you don't select this, most likely it will just look for basic economy. If that's fine, then it's perfect. Then you have main cabin, Delta Comfort, and then it goes on and on. If you're trying to figure out which of these If you click that, it takes you there. If you want to figure out more, you go right back up here, what we talked about, travel info. And then here, bam, it'll take you right there to main cabin where you can click on. It'll show you pictures. You see those pictures, and then you give you a better idea. Also, just to kind of touch on, if you look over here, it talks about baggage. With Delta, depending on, especially if it's domestic, they do require you to, with basic economy, some flights with the baggage, the allowance might be different. But again, you would check the fare rules, and you should see that after you booked, all right, with the baggage, depending on where you're going. But in most part, it should be the same. Okay, so you have the meeting code, and that's just something different if something's going on, like you have any type of e-credits or gift cards and stuff like that. And so basically we're done in a sense of what we want to do. So with that, we'll click there, and it should move forward. Let's see here, and it's loading, searching, and then we'll load. All right. And another thing with the app, I highly recommend that. Sometimes that's better than going on your phone and going directly to the website on a browser compared to the app. You got to just compare to see what works best, but sometimes it does. So let's take a look. So we have the outbound. Outbound is where you're starting from. You're coming out of SLC. And you're going straight to MIA. You want to do that on Wednesday, June 30th, 2021. It's a round trip. That's correct. Price includes taxes and fees. Baggage fee may apply. Remember, I was just talking about baggage. So you will click that to see if it applies to your particular trip. And services and amenities may vary. All right. So at the top, let's see if I go back up here, it says, right now we have a filter. So it's here, if you want to filter it in a particular way, you can do that. If you don't, and to filter it, basically it just means you want the best match, connection time, you can move that up and down. The airports, if you want to not go through a certain airport, some people just have a particular preference. I know when I book some clients, they just like, I don't want to do Detroit, I do Chicago, or I do, and these are the options that are available to you. Don't take me to New York. I definitely want to do that. I go to Newark, so this is how you can specify that. Some airline website doesn't give you this much flexibility of really booking your flight, and therefore you will have to call in or go through an agency. If you want to do nonstop, or I don't know, but how many? So this is just kind of filter it all down on what you prefer. If you don't want to do that, then you can get out of that. Here you can switch it to miles and kind of compare it, or miles plus cash. Again, miles can kind of go into a whole nother universe. So I'm going to do another video with that. All right, so here you have the broken down of the different cabins. So you have Main, it's refundable. Comfort Plus is refundable. Then you have First, which is refundable, of course. So you can look at the different ones that you are looking at. Again, I'm going to make this kind of short, not too long here, but just to kind of give you an idea of the step-by-step how to book your flights on Delta and what you're looking for. So here, this is the flight number. So DL is the abbreviation for Delta. I'll do another segment where I'm breaking down the airport codes and as well as the airline particular code. You want that because you want to make sure, especially with COVID changed the travel game in the sense that you got to be on point. You got to know what you're booking. It's no longer that I'm just going to give it to somebody, this is what I want, and then I'm just kind of zone out. No, you need to be in play. I had a story where they thought that everything, the booking was fine. They got way to Hawaii, and due to COVID, what have you, is a certain particular provider they had to go through. So the plane that they was on was not approved to be able to have them on. It's a long story on that point. They had to fly all the way back to fix that in order to get back to Hawaii. And you want to be able to make sure. You want to make sure that you at the right airport, you're not at a different one. You want to make sure if it was booked that it's a one-way. You want to make sure that it's the right plane number. Are you changing planes or what have you? All that matters, because now with COVID, making mistakes is going to cost you a lot and a lot of stress. So here we have the lowest fare and the fastest. They got 4 hours and 37 minutes. They're saying you leave them at 5:33 p.m. and it's about 12:10 a.m. So if you want to do the main cabin, we select it first, it gives you that amount. If you want to do the Comfort Plus, $692, then it goes up if you say you want to just upgrade, right? Then you have here the next flight, which is 3:32 p.m. And then you have 12:40 from this SLC. You are making a stop. Up here again, just to kind of touch, that was considered non-stop. So you're just going straight there. Here, if you add a connection, it's a refundable ticket. It's going to be $571, and then $791, and then $1591 for looking at the first class. And it tells you exactly what that is, and it highlights it to make it easier for you, okay? And I'm not going to go too much in detail of this. It was just a point to get you to how to book your flights and then move forward. I'll come back and do another video where I'm breaking it down, how to look at this and how to compare it to see if it's good. And you see with Delta, it's telling you and comparing what options that you have, from what you selected main to Comfort Plus maybe, and who knows, maybe I go and just do a first class and get in there. So that's what it tells you here. So once you select your outbound, it got all these options, right? What time you want to leave to the left and to what seat cabin that you want to be at. So you have all these options, right? So once you select one, then you move on to your return. So let's see that we just go ahead and just select the first. Let's just go ahead and select that and see that it'll say, yeah, we're going to do that. So I'm selecting that. It's going to process that. And let's see where it's going to take us, which should be focusing on the return. And on the back of the engine is computing all of that and is comparing the return. And here we have MIA, leaving out of MAA, you're returning back to SLC. You see that? And we selected July the 14th, Wednesday, right? So that's why I say in the beginning, to avoid all that, just get your refund. So when they be talking all of that, that details and the reads, you say, you know what, it's okay. Refund my ticket. And you're out and you're done. All right. We're trying to travel with less stress. So here it tells you the step. You can start over. If you say, you know what, I messed up my time or I messed up the date, you could do that there. The trip summary, and then the review and pay, and then your confirmation. And your confirmation is where we talked about earlier in this segment, that where you can go and key in and look at your flights. And here you have the 2 passengers. There's the total, the taxes and fees, the amount due today. They're telling you, of course, how many is left remaining, the seats. Here, if you want to change the currency, calculate to figure out if you're booking this from overseas, there it is. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I tried to just kind of focus. I like to kind of break things down, the things that you see, what there are, what they're for, what you can do in the future. So that's why I took my time to start from the top of the web page and then come down. And then as well to kind of take you to that step of what you're seeing, because what you're seeing does help to understand how the layout is, because you want to make sure that you're booking the right flight. You want to make sure that you're understanding what they are computing on the back end. Most of these websites and even third-party agencies, we're using a back end a technology engine that is computing all of this. And with air, I don't know what is it. It's very different than just, oh, I just want to rent me a car this weekend. It's totally different. It's like literally building a house on a mountain, and then I think I need to move that house over there. Is very hard. You got to find a contractor, you got to get a deed, you got to it's so many things that you just want to make sure when you go about it, you have everything in play. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please, if you have any questions, you can go to Luxor Travel. All right, so our little website here, and you can go there and just scroll down. You can go here to look for flights, where the flights are, and book from our website if you like. And we also have cars if you want to do that. And you can just keep going, and then you can also send us an email. You can drop us a line. And you as well, if you want to have us to help you to book the flight or what have you, or you just want to, you can either do the consult, or you could just do the free 30 minutes when you just have a question about, which airport you should fly out of. You're just trying to query about it. That's free. That's 30 minutes. You can definitely do that as well. So I do encourage you to subscribe, right? If you love it, give us a check mark and you can comment with any questions. So please hit that subscribe button and like button and hit that notification bell for all future videos and releases. And I'm Sharice at Luxor Travel. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.